Episode 36, Your Communication Style and Why It Matters. Welcome to Reviving Your Soul, where Christians are finding the courage to embrace their faith in all aspects of their lives so they can stop being bored or overwhelmed and begin to live the life in fulfillment and in peace that God created them for. I'm your host, Vonna Johnson. Let's get started. Have you ever said something you wished you could take back? It may not have even been the words so much as the tone you used. We all have at some point or another. How we communicate is a direct reflection on who we are and whose we are. How effectively we communicate in different situations will impact whether we will succeed in various aspects of our lives. Do you know your communication style? Do you know when to adapt your style for different situations? Today, I would like to delve into this topic and explain why it is vitally important that you know these things. According to several studies on communication skills from sources such as Huffington Post, Livestrong, and the American Journal of Small Business, better communicators have better marriages, make more money, have higher self-esteem, have healthier families, and are more marketable, are more successful, and develop better leadership skills. What none of these studies will tell you is how you communicate can also have an eternal impact on people's lives. Today I'm going to share with you some insights in different communication styles, share how I've used these styles to serve others in my life, and give some examples on how we can adapt our style depending on the situation and the environment. I believe that it is important for us to know our own style and that of those we interact with. If we aren't being authentic in our style, the people we are talking to will sense that, and they will not trust what we are saying. As in almost everything, if you do any research at all, you will find that there are a lot of different opinions on how many different communication styles they are and what they're called. For the purposes of today's discussion, I am going to use information I gathered from Toastmasters International. I got it from their website for a recent speech I gave at my local club. In their material, there are 4 different categories and titles. They are direct, initiating, analytical, and supportive. Someone who uses the direct style of communication is decisive, competent, independent, and confident. Someone with this style generally likes to be in control of the situation and is focused, results-oriented, ambitious, goal-oriented, and driven. They often are perceived as strong-willed or demanding and can get impatient when bored. Progress is typically measured by achievements and successes, and to get them motivated, you really just have to give them a challenge. These are the people who are considered to be more concerned about the results than the people, and they rarely share their feelings. They like to be in a fast-paced, structured environment that is efficient and busy. I'm sure we can all think of someone in our circles who fit that description. Someone who uses the initiating style of communication is sociable, enthusiastic, energetic, spontaneous, and fun-loving. Someone with this style is often considered to be gregarious, and they are perceived to talk more than they listen. They come across as self-assured, innovative, and persuasive. It's important for this person to feel accepted, and they are motivated by relationships. They crave praise and approval. They too like fast-paced environment and can come across as impulsive at times. They prefer a stimulating, personal, and friendly work environment. A person who uses the analytical style of communication is precise, exact, analytical, and logical. This person is systematic, task-oriented, and can be perceived as a perfectionist. They are also organized, self-reliant, purposeful, and diplomatic. They are motivated by certainty and will hold back on giving their opinion unless they're pressed to do so. They typically are slow-paced, cautious, and like to be in a structured, ordered, and functional environment. They generally hold personal information to themselves and don't often show their emotions. This helps them feel sure in their position and in others' expectations. And lastly, the person who is the supportive style is calm, steady, approachable, sincere, and gentle. This person does not like change, and they appear to be indecisive. They can come across as careful, patient, and friendly. Because this person has good listening skills, others see them as cooperative, dependable, and loyal. This person is often modest and prefers to receive praise in private. They are considered to be patient and slow-paced, and they like a personal, relaxed, stress-free environment. They thrive on close relationships and do not like conflict, but they can be good mediators. As in most personality type tests, most of us find that we have traits in all of the categories. This test was no exception for me, although I clearly had one group that I aligned with most, which was the supportive group, and one in which I scored very low, and that was the director group. Reflecting on my career in housing, I can see where I used my supportive style to serve the people I interacted with as a peer, a supervisor, a policymaker, and an agent for change. I tried to listen to the concerns of the people I was engaging with and help them find ways to resolve problems and challenges. I was a mediator in many situations and found my calm manner to be beneficial in conflict situations where emotions often ran very high. I didn't think of it back then, but I now realize that I was actively reflecting God's love in those situations, and hopefully people were feeling His presence even if I wasn't talking about Him directly. I can't tell you how many times I would say a prayer before entering into a tough conversation. In past episodes of Reviving Your Soul, I've talked many times about fulfilling our purpose. I believe that how we communicate is the primary way we witness our faith in whatever environment we are placed. Needless to say, as a life coach now, listening to skills and the ability to get on another's page is crucial to my success. I love being able to coach others to achieve a level of calm in their lives, both at work and at home. God places us where He needs us to be when He needs us to be there. It's our calling. We simply need to use our gifts to serve others wherever that calling leads us. As I mentioned earlier, I scored lowest in the direct style. However, I can see where I have adapted my style to work with different roles and different situations in my life. Most of my 25 years at housing, I reported directly to a Type A director-style communicator. As a result, I find that I adapted to that style when the situation called for me to do so. Looking back, I remember how painful it was for me to learn that her direct, no beating around the bush style didn't mean that she thought less of me and that it was just who she was. One of the things I remember well was she was known for her very direct emails, some of which simply said, "See me." It wasn't until I took a personality training and learned the different styles that I realized that that's just the way she rolled. As my career advanced and my work days got busier, I found myself being more direct. And I remembered especially when I would type an email. In fact, after that training, I would often go back and add a salutation after I typed an email and maybe put some other niceties in just to soften my tone a bit. I still laugh at myself when I recall my first promotion, where I was placed in a position where I needed to supervise people who had then previously been my peers. I don't remember the exact situation, but I do remember trying to handle it in the way that my very direct director would have done it. It was so incongruent for me that I just felt inauthentic even trying to say some of the things that she would have said. What I learned then, and had to be reminded of many times throughout my career, was that if I wasn't acting in a manner that was in alignment with who I was, I would get very stressed out. What I've since learned about confronting others is that when we have to correct or encourage someone, we should pray for courage, skill, and tact. We should then think through what we will say, because how we present our message can be as important as what we have to say. The lesson here is that we need to be ourselves and stop comparing and striving to be like others, and trust that God will help us if we will let Him. In fact, if we ask God to help us understand others and see our own flaws more clearly, He will give us the right way to handle the situation and even the right words to say. A real-life example of a time where I should have asked God to help me see my flaws more clearly was way back when one of our administrative team was leaving the agency. We were at her going-away party, and she shared that I could be really intimidating to work with. I still remember how stunned I was because I always saw myself as being kind and helpful with people. Thinking back, I can only assume that her perspective relates to the fact that I was always so busy that I didn't have time for the niceties. But it was really an eye-opener to realize that people don't always see me as I see myself, which I think reinforces the importance of communication styles and understanding our own style and that of those we work with. As I've just detailed, there are 4 categories of communication styles, and I am primarily a supportive communicator with qualities of initiating, analytical, and director communicator at times. What is your primary communication style? Can you see how you use your style to accomplish the work that is before you? I gave some examples of how I have modified my style in situations throughout my career. Can you see how you might have to do that in either at work, in your community, or in your home life? Do you also see how God will help you with that if you ask Him to? Earlier, I listed a variety of reasons why communication is so important. Most were primarily evolving around having success in the work world. I will advocate, though, that the higher importance is so that people will relate to you and will feel comfortable around you. It is only then that they will hear when you share the love for Christ, either in word or in action. And why is this important? Because as Christians, that is what we are called to do, for one. And for two, you may be the only person in that person's life who will have the courage to live in integrity with your faith and share it with them. I get it. This can be difficult. I also understand that I have room to improve in this area, but I feel I have ample opportunity to hone these skills as I live out my life in various settings. I feel blessed that you are willing to join me in this community so that you can have encouragement to do the same. If you need more help figuring out how you can incorporate these ideas into your life, let's visit. I would love to help you. Just go to my website at vannajohnson.com and schedule a time to visit. I thank you for joining me today. I am humbled and honored each time I see that someone has taken the time to listen to the words that the Holy Spirit has placed on my heart. I hope that you were blessed in some way and that God will bless you to be a blessing to others. If you know someone else who might enjoy this show, please share it with them. I would be so grateful. If you like what you hear, please subscribe so you won't miss an episode. If you are so inclined, I would love it if you would please leave a comment on iTunes. Thank you, and have an amazing week.